Identity Manager, click the Management Agent tool, and highlight the ADMA. In order to back this up, from the Actions menu, we're going to select Export Management Agent. Save As dialog box pops up, and in the C:/airlift/backup folder, I'm going to save this as what its management agent name is, which is ADMA, and hit save. We'll do the same thing for the Windows Live management agent as well. So I'm going to click that and hit Export Management Agent and save that. And now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and delete these management agents. We'll be recreating them in the next few exercises, so don't get too worried. From the Actions menu with the Active Directory Management Agent highlighted, we're going to click Delete. And from the Delete Management Agent dialog box that pops up here, we're going to delete the management agent and the connector space. We don't want any of the accounts that we just created to interfere with any of our other exercises, so that's why we're clearing the connector space as well. Say OK. And do you want to delete the management agent? Yes. Management agent and connector space successfully deleted. 15 objects have been deleted. OK. Same thing for the WLCD-MA. Highlight that and click delete. And again, select the radio button next to Delete Management Agent and Connector Space and say OK. And yes, I want to delete WLCD-MA. And the Management Agent and Connector Space were successfully deleted again. OK. In addition to the management agents, we need to delete the administration organizational unit from the previous exercise so that we can have unique accounts. So I'm going to minimize Identity Manager for a minute, go to the Start menu, bring up Active Directory Users and Computers, and I'm just going to right-click the Administration OU and select Delete from the Action menu. And yes, I'm sure I want to delete this object. And Object Administration is a container and contains other objects. Are we sure we want to do this? Yes. Great. So let's go back to the Identity Manager. I'm going to minimize Active Directory Users and Computers for a minute. And back in Identity Manager, let's begin creating our management agent. From the Actions menu on the right-hand side, we're going to click Create. The Create Management Agent wizard pops up. It wants to know what type of management agent we're going to create, and we are creating an Active Directory Management Agent, so I'm going to leave it there. But as you can see from the drop-down menu, there's lots of other management agent possibilities, anywhere from a delimited text file to SQL Server and a lot of stuff in between. Let's select the Active Directory since we're using that as our data source. And let's give it a name, ADMA. And let's give it a description, something that will know what this management agent does. So let's say management agent for importing accounts from Active Directory into Metaverse. And click Next. Since we're creating an Active Directory Management Agent, we need to connect to the Active Directory Forest. The virtual machine that we're using is a domain controller, so we're just going to be using the Active Directory from that particular domain controller. So here, I'll put in my fully qualified forest name, which is wledutraining.local. Yours will be the same. My administrator account. Now this isn't your administrator for the tertiary domain. This is your login administrator to the virtual machine. and then the domain is the friendly name for the domain. We'll click Next. And select the directory partition for the WLEDU training.local domain. But in order to prevent getting a lot of other stuff from the Active Directory into the metaverse, I'm going to cancel this so you can see again. Let's click the Containers button here. What we want to do is select the organizational unit that contains the accounts that we'll be provisioning to Windows Live. So there's no need to have all of these organizational units if everything that we're going to be provisioning is in the organizational unit people. So I'm going to uncheck the checkbox at the domain level and select simply the people container and say OK. We'll click Next. In this window, we're going to select the user object type. Click Next. Now, in this list, we need to click Show All and select our attributes. So from the attribute lists, the first one we want to check is going to be Department. Scroll here. We'd also like the display name and the employee ID. So there's display name, employee ID, and now let's get the given name or first name. The info field is the notes field on the telephone tab for the users where we have our password. So we'll be creating attribute flows with the info field as well. The mail attribute contains our Windows Live ID that we'll be setting up. And just for the heck of it, let's take the SAM account name and the last name, which is SN for surname. And we'll click Next. In configure connector filter, we're not actually going to filter anything here, so we're going to click Next. But we do need to create a join and projection rule for the user data source object type to project into Metaverse. So we're going to click the new projection rule button, and the projection type is declared as a person, and that's okay. And now we'll click Next. So now we configure our attribute flow. We'll set up direct import mappings to go from the data source object type user to the metaverse object type person. So let's just start that process. Let's highlight department. The mapping type is direct, and flow direction is import. We'll select department on the metaverse side and click the new button. And there we've got our first flow set up. Let's do that for the remaining attributes. Display name to display name, employee ID to employee ID, given name to given name, info to info. But remember, we also have info that needs to go, that's our password, so we need to make sure that that also flows to the user password attribute we've created. So I'm going to highlight that and have it go there as well. And then we'll set mail, SAM account name, and the last name, SN. And let's click Next. For deprovisioning, we're going to leave it for now at make them disconnectors. Let's click Next. And in the last screen here, if we were setting up password synchronization, we would check this box for enable password management and do some other stuff too. But for now, we're not going to be synchronizing passwords from Active Directory. We're just going to use the passwords that we've got, so I'm going to click Finish here.